Hello, everyone, and welcome to the big show. This is Investing and Trading Live. My name is Josh Lilquist, and today is the 23rd of June, and we got a little impromptu session here for everybody here today. I want to do a quick market recap with everybody. It's been a great week in the financial markets. We've seen a little downturn in the market and just some uncertainty. We had the Fed Chair Powell talk, I believe it was on Wednesday. And just bringing some fear into the market, dropping down from our supply zone in the S&P 500. But I want to do a few market recaps here. The S&P 500 we'll talk about. We'll get into some gold, some commodities, which are your futures contracts. We'll do a little bit of cryptocurrency, some individual stocks, and if we get enough time, we'll check out some currencies as well, the forex market. And for those of you that don't know, there's other markets than just the stock market. Everybody knows the stock market. That's what everybody sees on TV. You hear them talk about. Well, there's other markets that allow individual investors get in the market with really less capital. What that means is you're more efficient with the dollars that you have access to. So let's say an example of leverage would be very similar to a house, which is an everyday example. Everybody knows that most people use a mortgage for a house if they purchase a house, unless you pay cash for it. But if you use a mortgage for your house, you're using a small down payment. So an example would be maybe a $50,000 down payment to control a $400 or $500 house. That's probably the equivalent. So that's leverage. You're using a small amount of money to control a much larger asset. Well, we can do that same thing in the financial markets. It's called leverage assets. So we'll talk about those leverage assets today with the futures market. Maybe not the options market. We might do that with Apple today. And then the forex market as well. So as we get started here, for the YouTube viewers here, we're looking at the S&P 500 ETF, which is the SPY. And currently we're doing this session live here today. It's at $433.56. And we're coming off that supply zone that we identified back from April of 2022, which it's respecting pretty well right now, the 443 to 450 area. And by the way, there's no recommendation here for buying and selling any security or anything here. We're just talking about and giving our opinion on what's happening in the financial markets. But we're coming off that supply zone, and who knows what's going to happen here. We've been really seeing a good bull market here from October of 2022. It's the S&P 500 is up about... Let's see here, is up, can't find my line here, but I'll find it here. So the S&P 500 is up here over the last, really the year, the year anyway. But where is the trend line? Here we go. So back from October till now, it's up about 25%. So it is respecting, as I said, that supply zone. But we do have a little bit of a lower demand zone around the 430, 425 area, where if this market does come back down, that would be a potential area where institutions are buying back in. So that'll be a level we'll be looking at here over the next, I would say probably 4 or 5 days, depending on how fast this market moves. So that's the S&P 500. Let's look at gold, the GLD, the ETF for gold. Now, we've seen the highs back in May, beginning of May, and we've seen some bearish movement coming down from there. Now, we don't see any major demand zones below, but what happens with the dollar will kind of dictate a lot of that, which the dollar has been strong this past week or so, and that could potentially lower the price of gold. So let's look at some futures contracts here. We get the oil futures contract. Now, oil really, I like to pay attention to oil partially because I like to trade the Canadian dollar. Canada is a huge oil producer. There's odds enhancers that you can apply in there. But also, oil really, in my mind, dictates our prices at the pumps. And from June of 2022 till now, so about a year, oil's down about 44%, and we've been seeing that at the pumps. We had $4 or $5 in Minnesota here prices at the pump back then, and I think they're around, gosh, I don't even remember what they're, two or three, 350 or so right now. So that's really dictating the price of oil. Oil is a fast mover on a lower time frame. So we have some lows from November of 2021 that we're going to see what happens when we get down there. Is it going to respect those lows and go back up, or are we going to continue to see the downturn? But also the dollar will dictate a lot of that as well. Let's get into silver. So silver right now is at about $22 per ounce, and for those of you holding physical silver, it's really been, in my mind, kind of a sideways market here back from 2020 of July till now. It's actually at the same price it was in the beginning of July 2020, so it hasn't done a whole lot. It's been up, it's been down, and we're showing a little bit of strength here over the past 8 months, but recently we're in a small downtrend with the silver market. Let's get into, since we're talking about silver, let's talk a little bit about cryptocurrency. We had this week BlackRock file for an ETF for Bitcoin. Now that's been tried in the past, and BlackRock is kind of the leader in a lot of things now. They're the big conglomerate. They're the elephant in the room. Trillions of dollars under management, and we'll see what happens with that filing. But ever since they did that, Bitcoin has been up about 20% over the past couple week or so here. But it is at that high from April of 2023. So we'll see what happens here as we progress here over the weekend. Today's Friday. So by the way, the cryptocurrency market is open around the clock 7 days a week. So that will be moving over the weekend for you crypto traders. Now let's get into a few stocks here. I like to look at one of our local stocks here in Minnesota. It's Bright Health Group. Boy, when they IPO'd or came into the market here back in 2021, I believe it was, coming in at, well, they did a reverse split back a few months back, but they came in at $17 per share. But with that split that they did, which you'll understand more when you get into the markets, but Bright Health Group is at about $14.18 at the current time, which basically means it's been cratering since they IPO'd. Now, one thing about Bright Health Group is over the past, since May 30th roughly, we're starting to finally see some green on the screen. There's finally some green candles in there. So did they hit a bottom back on May 26th? Who knows? But that's been a real dog for a lot of people that are investing in Bright Health Group. But I like to peek at that one every once in a while, just because it is a local company here in Minneapolis. Let's check out Apple here. So Apple has recently hit all-time highs now, roughly around $186 per share, but $186.50 roughly. Now, in the options market, we talked about some options back in December of 2022, where it actually was giving some premium to be able to sell options on it, doing some cash secured puts. It was actually allowing a little bit of premium there. But with the volatility being so low with Apple, it hasn't allowed any of that. So you'd be typically doing more buying options with that. But really skyrocketing in 2023, from January 2023 till now, it's up about 50%. And we talked about that on the show yesterday as well. Now, let's peek at NVIDIA. We talked about NVIDIA in depth on the show yesterday. And we really seen NVIDIA it's like what you call it in crypto, going to the moon. It's up 311%, starting from the lows of October 2022. And this also at all-time highs, which the all-time high was from November of 2021. So it's up about, $80 per share since then. So will it continue to go up? It's hard to say. You just never know. Nobody has a crystal ball. But what you can do in the financial markets is add odds and probabilities into your trades and investments. Now, what are your odds, your probabilities that could go higher? Well, it's there. It's possible. But with it being up 311%, there's a great potential that we might see a pullback here where you might have the opportunity to get in at a little bit of a lower price. I'm seeing a little demand zone here back around the 313 area, 313 to 300 area. So is that an opportunity where it gapped up from there? It's a possibility. But when price gets down there, you're going to want to put your odds in effect. Do you have your odds in your favor? Do you have your probabilities to make a smart trading or investing decision? And at that time, we'll see what the volatility is, if there's options available. If you're looking to do cash secured puts, is it giving you a good enough premium? And we'll talk more about that in depth as we progress here over the next couple months on options. There's another stock that I really like to peek at, and we've been talking about this on the show over the last year and a half or so, how WWE has been just on fire. Coming from the lows back of December 2021, this stock is up roughly 115%. What happened was they did a lot of layoffs, and anytime what I've seen is you start seeing layoffs, you start seeing them trying to cut costs. They're looking to do a sale, and Vince McMahon, he was the owner of and chairman of WWE. He you had the Saudis looking at it, and I believe that sale is complete now. But once they start talking about that, it went up from $79 all the way up to $110 in just a matter of a few weeks. And currently at about $100 per share. So I'm not really trading this one right now just because it's not allowing any. I don't see any good supply or demand zones, but I do like to peek at this one just because I am a wrestling fan. Another stock, the last one we'll do here today, is Target. Now, we all know what's been happening with Target. It's been cratering ever since some of the stuff they did. It's down about 52% from the highs of November 2021. Now, is it an opportunity to buy at a discount now? Well, it is obviously much cheaper than what it was. Now, there's a potential demand zone that I'm going to pay attention to and see where the volatility is, see what it looks like here over the next few weeks here around the $100 mark. There's a zone there that has potential to have some odds and probabilities that we'll be peaking at here. So we'll see what happens there. It's currently at 132, so it could take potentially several weeks to get down there. So that's just a quick market recap for the week. Today's Friday the 23rd. And for anybody that's listening live or listening to the show recorded, if you have any stocks that you want analyzed or peeked at, definitely type them in the chat, send us a message, give us some likes if you're listening to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio. But definitely slam the like button and leave comments on anything that you like covered in the future. As always, my name is Josh Lilquist. Same time, same place next week. Until then, retire young, my friends.